In this episode of the Decluttering Club Podcast, I'm going to share with you 5 tips for handling the paperwork nemesis. Now, this is a training that I originally recorded during the most recent Organize Like a Boss Challenge, and everybody loved it so much that we thought we'd make it available here to you all on the podcast.
You are listening to the Decluttering Club Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Mueller, and it's my mission to equip women to declutter their homes, their time, and their lives so that they have energy for what matters most. Hey everybody, Sarah Mueller here with your special training on handling the paper nemesis. I have 5 points that I want to cover here in this extra special bonus training. Now, before I dive into these five tips, I want to let you know we do have a very thorough course on paperwork. And some of you already have this. It's called Household Paperwork Made Easy. It's a 6-week course that you can do at your convenience at any time. Lots of you have already purchased this. So if this is you, you have access to this on the website in your account. But I just want to give you 5 tips because paper does not have to be a problem, my friends. I promise you, paper does not need to be this horrible, awful thing in your life. So number 1, when we think about paper, we have 2 kinds of paper. We have the old paper. We call that the backlog. That is all the paper that has come into your life as of this morning. That's the backlog. So you might have files and boxes. That's your backlog. And then we have all the paper that's coming in today and tomorrow. That is new paper. And we want to treat these differently. Because if you start tackling the backlog and you don't have a system for the incoming paper, you will never catch up. Like, you cannot do it that way. You have to handle them separately. So what we like to do is we like to set up the system for the new paper. Let's worry about those first, and let's get to the point where we can keep up with those. And then we can address the backlog separately. Do not start with the backlog because your backlog will just grow. It's like trying to build a sandcastle where the sand keeps running down. You will never get there. So make sure you do it that way. Focus on the incoming paper first. Get that working well, and then you can address the backlog. That's tip number 1. Number 2, I want you to do a rough sort. What does this mean? Let's say when you're dealing with whether it's new paper or a backlog, frequently we think we have to do it right and we have to separate into 72 categories and we got to do all the things. You do not have to do it like that. That is not the ideal way to do it. And in fact, what I want you to do, let's take the mail. Let's imagine that you have a stack of mail and it's from a few days and it's kind of piled up. I want you to do a rough sort of that mail. And that could look like opening the mail and saying, oh, this is junk. Put it in the recycle. This is a bill. Bills go here. Junk goes here. And maybe everything else goes here. Now, we have not separated into filing categories. We have not done what is like a fine sort. There's like rough sort and a fine sort. You can come back and do that later. Maybe you only file once a month or once a week or once a quarter. You don't have to do that level of detail every single day. But doing a rough sort will really put you that much further ahead because so much of the paper in your possession, you don't need it anymore. So if you can identify what can go right in the recycle, or maybe you shred it, now you have eliminated a huge quantity of the paper, half of it, more than half. So we're going to do a rough sort. You can come back and do the finer sort later, or maybe you don't do the finer sort. Okay, but at least now you know these things are super important and this is like a takeout menu. Yeah, I want to keep the takeout menu, or you want to keep the magazine. Those things are important to you too, but they are not of the same level of importance as your car title or your passport or that bill that really you want to make sure gets paid. Do not mix the bills and the passports with the takeout menus. That's not good. So we want to do a rough sort. Tip number 3, I want you to optimize for filing. What does this mean? When we are thinking about filing, and again, we get into this in great detail in the paperwork course, we have what we call short-term filing and long-term filing. So short-term filing is like those things that you want to keep for a couple of days, you want to keep it for a week, but you probably don't want it forever. You don't need it for 7 years. It's not a tax thing. That's short term. Now, when we are thinking about filing, we can make it easy to file. Let's imagine we have 2 files. Let's say you divided all your papers into 2 categories. Now, you'd probably want more than 2, but let's just imagine it's just 2. It's like bills go here, everything else goes here. Can you imagine how easy would it to be to file if you had only 2 categories? It would be ridiculously easy. You could have your 5-year-old do it. So that would be optimizing for ease of use on the filing side of things. So you can make it easy to file, minimal amount of categories. Or you could do the reverse, and you could make it easy to retrieve your files. Now imagine, let's say you're filing for a doctor's office. Can you imagine if they only had 2 categories of files? Like they would never find your file. They would never be able to put their hands on your file. So a doctor's office or somebody who has a need to do a lot of retrieval, they will optimize for retrieval. Now, does it take longer for them to put something away? 100% it does. But that's okay with them because they want to be able to put their hands on your file very, very simply. And we can optimize for filing, the ease of filing, or the optimize for the ease of retrieval. Do you want to make the front end easy or the back end? And the way that we can answer the question is, how often are you retrieving things? How often are you going into your files to look for something? Does this happen every day? Does it happen every week? Does it happen 2 or 3 times a year? Like which end do you want to be easier? And most of you think, well, you need to be very granular and you need to have your things all labeled and maybe it's color coded, but that's a lot of work. That makes filing really hard. But you're not retrieving things very often. How often are you going to look for that electric bill or that receipt? Probably not, like almost never. So let's make it easy to file. And the trade-off is it's a little harder to retrieve. But we're doing that on purpose because we want to make the filing easy. So you're going to have to decide which way do you want to make it easy and which way are you willing to have a little bit more work. And then optimize for that. And that might mean that you cut down on the number of categories you have. Because if you have 100 categories, now it's pretty hard to file. But like I said, if you have 2, it's super easy to file. You probably need somewhere between 2 and 100. There's probably the right number for you. But think about that. It's okay if it's easy to file because you're probably not going to need to go and find that piece of paper. Most of the time, we don't have to go back and find every single paper that we filed. We're keeping them kind of just in case. It's a little bit of a just in case, but on purpose. Number 4 is to open your mail every day. Every day, people, every day. Especially if you are not in the habit of this and the mail piles up and you have a week's worth or a month's worth of mail. The longer you let something sit, the harder it is to do. We're going to be talking a lot about this during the challenge. If there's something that you don't love, it's better to do it every day. You will desensitize yourself to it and it's not going to pile up. If you do it every day, it takes you 2, 3, 4 minutes. If you wait until the end of the week, now you need a half an hour. And you probably don't have a half an hour. You don't have a half an hour waiting. You're just twiddling your thumbs. It doesn't happen. So do it every day. And the cool thing about this is that you can open your mail and you don't have to do anything with it. We can separate these into 2 tasks. Opening the mail does not mean that you have to act on the mail. We can kind of divorce these 2 activities from each other. You can give yourself permission. All you're doing is opening it. And then you can recycle the envelopes. You're throwing out the junk mail. And then you're setting aside the important things. You will eliminate so much paper just by doing this every single day. Remembering that we have a dear member. Her name is Lee. She tells the story about how she didn't used to open her mail. Like it wasn't a regular thing. So she'd get to it, but it would pile up. She was been in our membership. And I said, open your mail every day. And she heard me say that. And from that point forward, she started opening her mail every day. And she's like, guess what? This is never a problem for me anymore, ever. She just does it every day. It's like 2 minutes. It becomes a habit. So open that mail every day, especially if you don't like the mail. From time to time, I'll get like a letter from the government. It'll be from the IRS or from the state of Pennsylvania or something like that. I'm telling you, I hate those letters. I hate those letters because I'm like, it's probably a bill. They're probably going to tell me that I owe them money. or I'm going to have to get on the phone or something awful like that. And so I see those letters and like part of me just wants to shove it in a drawer. But I have trained myself to open those, especially those, immediately. I want to know what's in that letter right away. Because you know what? Most of the time, it's not a bill. It's just like some random privacy notice, or sometimes it's actually a check. I can't tell you how many times the IRS is sending me, oh, you overpaid by whatever. We redid the books and whatever. So those in particular, I open them immediately because I don't want that letter hanging over my head. If it's bad news, I want to know what it is. And you know what? Most of the time, it's actually not. But you don't know that until you open it. So open your mail every day. Like, unless you're not home, I want you opening your mail. And then number 5, last tip. Are you ready for it? The last tip is to stop keeping every piece of paper. This one might sound obvious, but some people need to hear this. You don't have to keep every piece of paper. You should not keep every piece of paper. You shouldn't keep every piece of paper temporarily, and you definitely should not keep it all indefinitely, forever. You need to ask yourself, do I anticipate wanting to be able to find this piece of paper in a year, in 2 years? Now, sometimes the answer is absolutely. Of course I will. It's my passport. It's my marriage license, marriage certificate. It's something that I know that is going to be important to me. But other things, it's like, well, we just keep them because we keep them. We just keep everything by default. You want to get out of default mode for things like this, because you probably don't need them. And you're going to have to decide for yourself what your comfort level is. Talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyer. Certain things are definitely going to be tailored for you. If it's your bank statement, can you get it somewhere else? Bank statements are all online, so we don't need to keep them. You can always go and get that reissued if you need. Maybe it costs you a couple bucks. If you need a bank statement from 2 years ago, they might charge you $5 to get it. There's no reason to keep it. So don't keep every piece of paper. Every piece of paper should be an intentional decision. So I want you to think through that, especially if you've been operating in default mode. I want to talk really quickly about things like recipes or patterns or ideas or travel brochures. Sometimes people will be saving these things because they're like, oh, this is a good idea. I might want to make this recipe. I might want to go to this place. And so we collect these things. And that's not a problem. Less stuff, more life. I am all in. If you are happy with the paper, and let's say the recipes or the travel or whatever that you have collected, amazing. You have my blessing. But if you are starting to get frustrated by this, and if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get to do all these things, this is true, you're not. And so I want you to let those things go. The thing about ideas, and these are all ideas, these are all possibilities. Recipe or a travel destination or a pattern, it's all a possibility. There are infinite possibilities available to you, infinite. And so you don't have to worry about letting go of the backlog of possibilities, because guess what? There's always new possibilities showing up every single day. You have an infinite well of possibilities available to you whenever you want it. It's in your phone, it's in your computer, it's in your head, it's in your friends. So you don't have to hold on to the old possibilities because new ones are showing up all the time. So I want to encourage you to let some of that stuff go, because that will free up a lot of space. And more importantly, it's not even about the space with that kind of stuff. It's really about the burden that it creates on us. We think, oh, I saved these things because I wanted to get to them. And now what does it mean that I haven't gotten to them? Oh my gosh, I'm missing out. You're not missing out. You're just living your life. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know which of these tips you find the most helpful and the most useful. I will see you all later. Take care, everyone.
That's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. It would really help us to get the word out. And if you'd like to continue your decluttering journey with us, find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Decluttering Club, or on our website at thedeclutteringclub.com.